Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of r/Entitled People. In today's episode, my 5-year-old daughter shut down a Karen. Old woman yells at me for not telling her to get out of the way. Entitled woman stole gas from multiple cars. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. My 5-year-old daughter shut down a Karen. So yesterday my husband and I were at Target with our 5-year-old daughter. My old vacuum broke, so we went for a new one. My husband, being the smart he is, placed the new one in the cart and said, "Happy mother." I just laughed at this. Then this woman came out of nowhere yelling at my husband, saying that he's a horrible man and a shit father for giving me such a sexist gift. I've had my run-in with Karens before, but the fact she was yelling in front of my daughter and verbally attacking my husband that way, I was about to lose my shit on her when my sweet daughter looked at me and loudly said, "Mommy, I think she needs a timeout." The Karen went bright red and quickly walked away. My husband and I started laughing our butts off. Bless a child's innocence. The innocence of children when they throw shade but are really just telling the truth. Love it. I was at Target with my cousin and her son. There was a lady screaming at some poor worker, and little man goes, "She needs a cookie and a nap, real bad." I had to run down an aisle so I wouldn't laugh in her face. I love kids sometimes. Old woman yells at me for not telling her to get out of the way. Okay, so I was in Walmart for groceries. I'm not in any hurry, and I don't mind waiting behind someone. There was this old woman in front of me on a certain aisle. I was patiently waiting for her to move so I could get what I needed. She noticed me and asked all cranky like, "Do you need something from here?" Yes. She didn't give a chance to say more, which would have been, "But I don't mind waiting." She gets really angry and screams at me, "Well, why didn't you tell me to move out of the way? I would have moved." Now I got really angry and snapped at her, "Unlike you, I'm not a rude cow. I have no problem waiting since I have plenty of time. And even if I didn't, I still wouldn't be so rude. I was raised right." I deliberately added the last part since a lot of old people like to use that so much. She got really angry and turned red in the face and started screaming at me. I rolled my eyes and said, "Whatever." More anger, and then I thought to myself, "And I'm out of here. I'm not dealing with this shit." I turned around to go the other way and she starts following me, still screaming. So I ran and started giggling. She wasn't able to run. The screaming died down. I hid for a few minutes and then went back to get what I wanted. It was when I got outside to put my groceries in my car, had just finished and got into my car, that she appeared at my window screaming. Just about scared me half to death. I couldn't help myself. I mean, when would I really get such awesome opportunity to be an asshole? Since she couldn't actually harm me, I became childish. I rolled my window down a few cm, then stuck out my tongue and said, "Nah, Bobo, you can't catch me." The stunned astonishment and silence was very entertaining. Then her face got redder and kinda purple. The screaming started again, which was muted when I closed the window. I did a few more childish things which increased the screaming, and then suddenly she stopped. I was gleefully laughing. She ran out of breath and walked away rather abruptly. I was kinda disappointed, but oh well. It was when I went home and got my kids to help bring in the groceries that both of them took one look at me and said, "What did you do?" LOL. I must say my favorite part is your kids knowing you did something. Didn't know what, but they know their parent. Ha, this is class. A lot of people these days, especially older people, are so entitled and use any excuse to scream and shout at others. I know we all have bad days, but we don't take it out on other people. I'm so glad you didn't let it wind you up and got so much enjoyment out of it. Well done. LOL, sometimes it's best to fight fire with childish glee. Entitled woman stole gas from multiple cars. 5 days ago, I was about to leave for my morning commute to uni in the morning when my car failed to start up. What struck me as odd was the fuel gauge said it was out of gas. I filled up the tank yesterday. I told my mother what happened and she allowed me to use her car. However, the same issue happened with her car too. We would find out we weren't the only ones with this problem. As the day went on, the neighbors in the apartment complex faced the same issues with empty fuel tanks, much to their shock and chagrin. This brought some complaints to the management about this incident. I simply walked to the closest gas station with 2 gas cans to fuel up my car to get back there to repeat the process with my mother's car. My father was already at work by 4 a.m. at the donut shop. I missed classes that day and had to self-study on the topics I struggled to understand. I later learned that not all cars had their gas stolen. I think the cars in the front parking lot were the only ones affected. That parking lot is the smallest one out of 7 in total and is the only one not gated. Just this morning, the culprit was caught by a neighbor who decided to look outside for some reason and saw her siphoning gas from a car. He called 911 and the police put the cuffs on her. From what my other neighbors claim, the woman siphoned gas so she wouldn't have to pay for them. Her defense was, since we could pay rent, we could afford to simply give gas away. Rent for a 3-bedroom and 2-bathroom apartment for families is $1,409 per month. A lot of my neighbors were employed in low-paying jobs, which limited their monthly spending, and that included their gas budget. I remembered a man crying because he'll be late for work and might lose his job. Plus, he told everyone who comforted him that he couldn't afford to pay an extra $40 for a full tank. Another man fortunately was willing enough to give the man enough money to pay for gas when he was able to fill up his car with a gas can I used to fill up mine. So, she's being detained at the local police station and I have no clue what will happen to her next. Wow, that's some next-level entitlement. Please let us know what happens to her. I checked my state laws about this and it might be a state jail felony if the value of gas she stole was under $10,000. But, it seems to only apply to gas pipelines. So, who knows? I wonder if she was not only stealing gas for her own use but also reselling it. Otherwise she wouldn't have needed to steal gas from so many cars. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.